I'm excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I'm not sure about your guys' businesses, but like at least in my business, leads are extremely expensive. It's extremely hard to get people on the phone. And so if they show up, I want to make sure we have the best team that can answer their questions, but also help them move through the process. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining. This is the first webinar that we're hosting. We've got Nix. Laura is also going to help us with hosting this event. Basically, the topic today is how to hire and train sales reps from Latin America. So if you're thinking about building a virtual assistant sales team, as we have done, this is going to be great. We have done over $1 million in revenue this month so far in February, and we close hundreds of deals every single month. We hire and train and fire a lot of people. And so in this webinar or live session, we're going to go over what we do internally. So that way you guys can copy the same tactics that we have that have led us to the growth that we've had. So anyway, Nix, I'm going to give it to you. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat. And then Nix and I will pause kind of in between and answer any questions and then move on to the next stages. All right, Nix, awesome. You're up.
Yeah, I think, well, what the first thing that we should talk about first is why Latin America. I myself, being a Filipino, I was skeptical at the beginning if Latin American talent would work because before I started recruiting and working with Latin American people, I've handled sales team from all over the globe, primarily in the Philippines. So it was my first time actually being exposed to Latin American talent. And to be honest, I was really blown away. Like their affinity when it comes to sales, since we're talking about building sales teams, is really, really amazing. So right now, my problem, first thing that you would notice with Latin American talent is work ethic. My problem right now is for them to stop working. Like that's my problem.
Yeah.
Like it is a good problem to have that everyone is eager to work, everyone has excellent work ethic. Like, because now I just have to deal with performance. I never handled a team. This is the first time that I've ever handled a team wherein attendance is not an issue. People are, there's there's never a time that I had to deal with late absences. No, I have to deal with people going to work 6, 7 days a week. Like, hold on,
Yeah.
you're gonna be burned out. Take a little bit of rest.
Yeah.
That's the work ethic that you're gonna be getting. Um,
We had
I
some
think
people
it's,
earlier asking in the chat if they can take Sunday off, and it's like Sunday's not even
yeah,
supposed to be a work day. It's like you should be off if you don't want to work, right?
yeah.
And by the way, I
On
used to hire from the Philippines myself, and what's interesting is one of my biggest problems is people used to be late to client calls, and then we would lose the client because the sales rep never showed up, which I used to get so frustrated by that, and we no longer have any of these issues in Latin America.
Yeah, and because you don't have any of those issues, now you can just focus on performance because
Yeah.
everyone's work ethic is really really good. Primarily the culture, but I would say the time zone helps a lot because to be honest, like working with a very difficult time zone is not for everyone. Like for me, I'm from the Philippines, but I've been doing US hours for like 20 years, so this is just like my normal life. But for others, it's very hard to adjust to the time zone. With Latin American talent, they are more efficient because they're working similar time zone in the US. Also, they are very responsive, not unlike I've handled Filipinos, and you will experience a lot of excuses, especially in their responses. You don't get that with Latin American talent. They are alive, and because it's their usual, their natural hours. So that's the first thing. Now, also the way they are built very culturally aligned with the US, so you don't have any issues there. And even if they have a little accent, people really don't mind that. When you
Yeah.
have like an Indian or a Filipino accent, that is not acceptable, believe it or not, when it comes to sales. So
Yeah.
that's the advantage in hiring from Latin America. And we have been successful so far that we primarily hire from Latin America because the talent is really, really amazing.
Yeah. Now, here's an interesting point on accents, by the way. So I live in California, and obviously we have a very big Hispanic population here. if somebody calls me on the phone and they have like a small Hispanic accent, I wouldn't think that they're based out of Latin America. I would think that they're in
Sure.
California. Versus if somebody calls me with like a Filipino accent, I immediately know it's a sales call. I'm kind of not interested right away. And it's just, we get so many calls. Like I hate to say this, but that's just the truth because we get so many calls every single day as you know. So that's kind of one of the other. In fact, what's interesting, we do Zoom calls, and a lot of our clients don't even know that our
They
sales
don't
reps are
even
all in
notice.
Latin America. They're not US
Yeah.
based.
Yeah. They don't even notice. Like
Yeah.
they feel like they're talking from someone in the United States.
Yeah.
Another cool thing about hiring from Latin America is you also get a lot of expats. So
Yeah.
like you have um people who is like from the US migrated to Latin America. So talent is really amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I think what we should talk about is how we are doing the interview process because
That'd be great.
that's really something that we have tried and tested, and I think we have found the right formula when it comes to screening these people.
Yeah.
So when you're hiring salespeople, me, having interviewed, I think more than 1,000 sales reps in the span of my career, I can already tell the first minute if I would like to hire someone or not.
Yeah.
And the first thing that we should look for is energy. Really, like me myself, like I'm surprised that there are experienced salespeople that is too serious when you're interviewing them. So that really doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like if you don't feel good talking to someone or you're interviewing someone and you don't feel good talking to them, your clients wouldn't feel good talking to them as well. So if you cannot relate to them, you don't like the energy, no, no.
100%.
Second thing is, I would say I'm very, very old school when it comes to work ethic and being professional. So if someone is late, even if it's just a minute, I won't even talk to them. I won't even interview them because that's an early indicator on how they would be in the team. I'm very picky. The recruitment team hates me because, like, they set up someone and yeah, no, I won't interview that person 1 minute late. No, no, that's not acceptable. I also look for, if they're dressed appropriately, if they are clean looking, because would like someone that is professional. These are basic stuff, by the way. Like these are basic stuff, and if they miss it, then they're not worth talking to. Don't
Yeah.
waste your time with these people.
Yeah, because
Now,
imagine if they come in and it's like some people come in, it's like they haven't brushed their hair, they haven't changed their clothes into something appropriate and professional. It's like if you're not taking the job interview seriously, how the hell are you going to take the actual job seriously, right? I mean, it just makes no sense.
I'm very particular about those things. So 1 minute late, I won't even talk to you, man. Like I won't. The next thing, actually, what I like to do is more than what they say. You have to also pay attention in how they say it. So even if they have excellent voice tone, very good communication skills, you have to take note if they are expressive. You would like to see hand gestures. You would like to see facial, or you would like to see emotion and the tonality. Even if you're just hiring someone to do cold calling, they won't be on video. You want someone that is expressive because if they are expressive, the voice tone over the phone is automatic. They don't need to fake it, they don't need to control it. It comes off naturally. Like what you can see from me right now, like my emotions change, my facial reaction change. I have a lot of hand gestures. That's what you need to look for when you're doing an interview, not just the way they sound or their answers, but the way that they're expressing themselves. It's
Yeah.
very crucial.
Just to go a little deeper on that, by the way, so I've done millions of cold calls myself, and one of the things I learned over the phone is that people can hear how you act with your hand. They can almost hear your face. Like if I talk
Yes.
this way and I'm like very sincere, it comes across very different on the phone versus if I'm talking this way, right? And so one of the mistakes I made in the past is I would hire people that kind of were dead on the interview. They had a monotone essentially. And then I would try to teach them how to, have hand gestures and emotions on the phone. And it never works out. They're
Very
never
hard.
as good as someone who on the interview itself already is what you're looking for. So like one of the things we've kind of come to realize, hiring so many people is that instead of looking for people that we can train to be what we want, we're just going to look for exactly what we want to start off immediately.
Exactly. Because that is very hard to train because it's a personality thing. If
Yeah.
they are not expressive, how long have they been doing that for like 20, 25 years of their life? That is hard to change. So
Yeah.
you'd rather have someone that is very expressive. Another thing that I do, and some people may not agree with this, is I kind of like try to eliminate people who's not confident by asking them and by kind of like scaring them. Like I always ask them, so this is a sales account. So we're very particular about performance. If you do good, you're gonna make a lot of money. If you don't do well, you're gonna be let go right away. And I asked them, is that something that is okay with you? And believe it or not, there are people who just like, oh no, I'm looking for something stable. Oh no, this is something that is not for me.
Yeah.
So okay, good. Then we'll find you another place. But yeah,
Yeah.
you eliminate a lot of people who's not willing to do what it takes just by asking that question.
This is very important, by the way. You kind of want to unsell people on joining your organization because if they're going to be unsold that easily, they're not the right fit. Don't waste your time. There's no point. Move on to the next candidate.
Yeah. And it works actually if because you want someone that is confident. Um, and believe it or not, one of the good traits that you should look for in salespeople is they believe they are the best. Like me myself, I have a big superiority complex. I always think that I'm the best, and that's how I portray myself during my sales call. So I always look for that in people. So if they're scared of challenges, if they get scared right away just by saying, if you don't do well, you're gonna be let go right away. Well, in reality, we kind of like a little bit lenient, but people who's afraid to take on challenges, you don't want them in your team.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, when it comes to hiring salespeople, you would like to also gauge if they are able to think fast. That's really critical, especially when they're having conversations with your customers. So, what I do is I usually ask weird questions that they could not prepare for. For example, I asked them like, you know, what, you know, talk to me about previous sales that you have done. How were you able to do it? Talk to me about what do you think your boss would tell me about you? What do you think would colleagues tell me about you? I asked them these questions so you could gauge how fast and they can think and they can express themselves. And a simple rule, to be honest with you, if you're asking a lot of questions, then you should not hire that person. Because a really good salesperson would be elaborate when talking about themselves and their experience.
Yeah.
Like you would know, if someone, I just asked them, talk to me about your background and talk to me about your experience. If
Yeah.
they talk for like 2 minutes straight and they can elaborate everything, you're talking to the right person.
Makes sense.
Because yeah,
You want someone that can think quickly because on a sales call, a prospect isn't going to give you time to think about the perfect answer and let you proceed that. It's like they're judging you. They're asking a question, they expect a response right away, and they expect it to kind of be in depth to answer their concerns. And if the person you're interviewing can't think that fast, they're also not going to think very fast when they're speaking to your clients, and you don't
yeah,
want them in the first place.
exactly. Sometimes if I'm not yet convinced, I still give them chance and I do role plays. So when you're doing role plays, it's best to portray the worst possible customer, and we can talk about that a bit more detail later. But what you're just going to be looking for is if they are aggressive and doesn't stop until you get a yes. Because here's the thing, it's very hard to teach someone to be aggressive. Like if they're not aggressive as it is, they are, it's hard for them to learn how to be aggressive. So it's more on like their personality, aggressiveness, and being persuasive is a personality trait. It's very hard to teach. Like I have tried teaching that to people. Like believe it or not, we even have salespeople who are like very good communication skills. They sound good. They are easy to speak with, personality wise, but they are not aggressive. They're not pushy. They fold after getting one objection. They don't do well, no matter how
Yeah.
good they are with the presentation. So you want
Yeah.
someone that's aggressive.
And I know some of the maybe business owners here might not necessarily want someone who's aggressive, but it's always better to have that skill set and then tell them that they should go softer if you want
No
them to be
doubt.
softer. But it's very hard to go the other way around. And I've seen so many, like I buy a lot of things. We use a lot of vendors for different services, and sometimes I hop on calls. I'm like, why did this guy not try to close me? I was so close. He could just pushed a little more and I would have bought on the spot. And instead, now I'm going to a competitor. I'm interviewing multiple people, and now they end up losing me. And everything we buy is huge now because we have so many members. It's like they lose so much money, but because they're so afraid to ask for the sale and handle objections on the spot and be aggressive. And honestly, we've tried both approaches. We've tried like a soft approach where we're like, all right, well, we're gonna follow up with you, versus like, we're gonna try to close you right now. If you're a good fit, I don't want you going to a competitor because I firmly believe we are a better company for staffing versus our competitors. So I don't want you going somewhere else. And so like we'll try to close you no matter what. And we've noticed that has a much better basically customer experience, but also closing rate for us. So we look for people that can close hard if they need to, because again, the minute you're off the phone, the chance of you coming back is extremely low.
That formula actually works because, believe it or not, this is the first company that I led that has like, majority of our sales are coming from same day meetings, like same day
Yeah.
closing,
Yeah.
first call closing. Like 90% of our sales are from same day closings. We also get follow-up sales, but it's not that much compared to the same day closings that we are getting.
Yeah. Yeah, we're very big on same day. Like if a client is going to you, we want same day closes. Now, every business is a little different. I've been in businesses before where the sales cycle is much longer. And even here, like if you think about it, our actual, customer cycle is about 3 weeks. It takes 3 weeks from the time you meet with us to the time you interview multiple people, maybe make up your mind on who you want to hire. Right? It's about 2 to 3 weeks. But to us, what is considered a sale, what I basically came up with when I was starting remote leverage is just a deposit. Just put down a deposit. That's good enough to, consider that a sale for right now. So that way on our books, it's like, yep, the salesperson got a sale versus didn't get a sale. And so that makes a very clear KPI for us to understand who's doing better than the other.
Exactly. So those are just the things that I look for when I interview people. And right now it's working for us. We're able to at least screen and get them to the next stage. So right after interviewing, I think the next part is how do you train these people?
Oh, I'm sorry, real quick on interviews. So we have a two-step interview process, or three steps really. We have a team of recruiters that interviews. We get about 1,500 applicants a day. So they interview, and then you come to us as a client. You're like, hey, I want XYZ sales rep. You'll get assigned a hiring manager. The hiring manager will then host these interviews on your behalf. And then the final interview is basically between you and the client. And that's where we suggest you apply Nix's tips, because that's not the client, I'm sorry, the candidate and you. Basically, that would be kind of like the third and final step. So the hiring manager is there, you're there, the candidate is there, and that's where you want to test for these like final little things. The hiring manager you get assigned from us should already have a lot of these things covered, but at the same, at the end of the day, you know your business better than obviously our hiring managers, and so you want to be there and make sure that everything is covered before you move forward.
Exactly.
Awesome. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, no, no. I think we're good. Well, now that we've covered how to, do better in interviews, why don't we talk about how do you train these people?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so training is really essential, and this is my suggestion for everyone. Like, if you don't know how to do sales, if you cannot close yourself, you hire someone who is really good in sales. Because salespeople or handling salespeople is difficult if you haven't done it before. Because salespeople have huge egos. They would only follow someone that is better than them. Like, if you are not better than them, hire someone who's really good in sales. Because the best way to make a salesperson follow is show them how is it done, how it's done. Like, in the team, I have really amazing sales rep, but the best salesperson in the team is me.
Yeah.
So no one can contradict what I'm teaching because I'm going to tell you and I'm going to show you how it's done. So if you don't know how to train, if you don't know how to close, you cannot teach people how to close. That's the first thing.
Now
Really.
I want to just clarify for like smaller businesses because obviously we have small businesses, we have bigger businesses here. So it's like if you're a big business, hire a head of sales, someone that will lead the sales department, and then have them hire and train their own sales team. You should be out of that process if you're not very good at sales. When I first started Remote Leverage, I've been doing sales for like 8 years prior to that, so I was very good at sales. I don't think I'm as good as Nick's though, to be honest with you. And so I hired the first two or three, and then I got Nick's. At the time when I hired Nick's, his compensation was a little more than our profits of the company, by the way. So I kind of took a risk in doing that, but it paid off because then he built an amazing sales team. And I haven't, ever since I hired Nick, I haven't had to worry about the sales team or the growth of the sales team since then. It's been over like a year and a half now or something. And so that's what you want to do, right? If you can afford to hire a head of sales. If you can't afford to hire a head of sales, honestly, you better get the best sales rep on the first go that you can because otherwise you're kind of screwed. So you have to be very careful with who the first hires are in that department because they will set the culture of anyone else who's going to come in after them.
That is true. And to be honest, you don't need to get someone that has like hire a closer or hire someone that is experienced in all the steps, all the sales process. So even if initially you would just need a cold caller, then if the position grows, then they can step up right away.
Yeah.
So at least, you know, spend a few dollars per hour for someone that is really good rather than just hire someone that can just do cold calling. That person wouldn't grow if you don't have someone to teach them. So it's a bit more challenging.
It's
Uh,
interesting you say that. One of the things I see our clients do all the time is they reject amazing candidates and they're like, oh, this person is overqualified. So then they choose someone who's less
mm,
qualified because in their head they don't want to overhire for a role. To me, it's like I wish I could like talk to them and tell them to not do that, but I stay out of it. Because it's like, when you hire someone who's just qualified for that role, you're never going to be able to get them to grow to the next role
correct.
as the business grows, right? You're hiring at the level of the
Yeah,
business right now, but the point of hiring is so that you hire for the next level of the business, so it's a big mistake if you keep capping yourself because you're like, well, we're doing $20,000 a month. I only have this position, so I don't want to overhire. Well, you want amazing people that are overqualified so they can bring the company forward. And
correct.
if you don't hire amazing people, you're always going to be stuck at that 10,000 a month, 20,000, 30, 50, whatever a month you're at right now. So like I think the whole overqualified thing is completely stupid, to be honest with you, in my opinion. I always look for the best possible person that will accept the job that I'm going to give them. Now, obviously, like Nick's, for example, if I came up to you and I said, "Hey, I want you to be a cold caller," you might not accept the job. So I might have to lower my expectation of what type of person I could get, but I will always try to get the best possible person that would actually take the job I'm offering. And I wouldn't like
Exactly.
decide for them. If I can get someone who's overqualified and they say yes, I'll do it.
That is true.
Yeah.
Now, going back to training, we have a very unique training process because, and this is something that I set expectations with everyone that joins our team. um, I always tell them, we're not gonna handhold you. We're not gonna spoon feed you with everything. So what we do is we have all the material set up. We have all the call recordings that they can listen to. On the first day, I just have a 4-hour discussion with them on our call flow and everything. But the first challenge that then this is a good measure. A lot of people quit on the first day. Is I give them all the materials. Now it's your job if you're going to absorb and put in the effort in learning all those things by yourself. That's the first challenge that I issue to the team. Like, and usually one out of three people quit because they just don't want to put in the effort.
On the
So you
first day.
overall, yeah, that's the thing. Like it's insane. Like, I have people and then they're happy in the first day and then the next day they don't show up because they didn't do their homework.
Yeah.
And I would tell them, like, if you don't do your homework, if you don't put in the effort, don't bother showing up tomorrow. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Another, so we have a call flow, right? I don't want to call it a script because it's not a script. I task everyone to get it memorized the first day. Like, that's a requirement. If you cannot memorize our call flow the first day, don't bother showing up the next day because it's not going to work. Why? Because the next part of our training process, what we do, we are very intense when it comes to role play. Like a lot of our tenured people have nightmares with the role plays that we're doing. We like um, and that's kind of like our barrier for entry. So you cannot take meetings with us, not unless you do good in the role plays. And they're going to experience a very grueling role play session. The main purpose of us making the role plays difficult is to prepare them for the worst. Like, really, I'm portraying the most difficult customer they could imagine. Like, that's the standard because that's how you train people to for every possible scenario that they could encounter. Because if they're talking to the worst customer possible and they can do good, now it's easy for them to handle the regular or normal customers because they're used that or they have encountered the worst possible customers. So role
Makes sense.
plays were very intense when it comes to role plays. That's
So,
how
so
we
just to be clear for everybody, on the first day, you have to memorize basically the whole sales presentation. On the second day, you're doing role plays with them and you're acting as a very tough customer, essentially. Now, are you doing these as group role plays or is it like one-on-ones? How do you do that?
Oh, another thing that works for us is we do everything by group. So it's your turn, and everyone is watching. In that way, everyone is learning from somebody else's mistake. So they don't, they avoid repeating any mistake that someone has committed already.
Makes a lot of
Like
sense. Okay, so you're doing these
one
as group role plays.
Yeah, and I would say the group role plays and feedback session really works because it saves everyone a lot of time. Before, I have worked in corporate, so we are being taught about feedback that, when you are reprimanding someone, you have to do it in private. I no longer believe that. It just wastes a lot
Yeah.
of time to do. And that's actually one good thing that I would say um, that you will get if you hire from someone from Latin America. Uh, they're thick skinned. So they don't get offended if you are just giving them feedback that is really about the performance. As long as you don't make it personal, as long as it's about their performance, they don't get offended.
By the way, I have actually a rule where everyone has to give, in both sales and operations, everyone has to give feedback publicly. And I've seen sometimes where like members give feedback to each other privately, they do it in DMs, and I actually ban that immediately. It's like I'm heavily against that. Here's why. Because when there's a Slack channel, let's say they're in a group and they call each other out for mistakes or like you could have done this better, everyone else will learn from that same mistake so that you don't have, let's say you have a team of 35 people, you don't have every single one of them make that same mistake at some point in their career with us. It's like one person will make that mistake, everybody else will see the feedback, see them get called out, they will learn from it, and then your business will have way less mistakes. That's number one. The other thing is it creates kind of like a peer pressure. People don't want to be called out. Obviously, it kind of embarrasses them. And so they become a lot more careful in the future. Number one, to not make that same mistake again, but also to not make any mistakes at all. And so like I'm very, very big. If I'm gonna on this where it's like if I'm going to give you feedback, I am going to post it publicly in the chat. I'm going to tag you in there. And that way everyone gets to see that feedback. We're not gonna do one-on-ones. I'm not gonna, pull you aside privately because then it only benefits you, but it doesn't help the other people that should also benefit from that conversation. And as you grow the business, it's like your time is also so limited. It's difficult to do one-on-ones on things. Now, if it was like a personal issue, whatever, that's separate. But if
Yeah,
it's like if
that's
it's about yeah, if it's about the business and your performance, it needs to be public. And we have dashboards that everyone can see each other's production and performance. And this is not just for sales. I do this in every department in the business. And in my opinion, it's one of the most important things we do.
it saves everyone a lot of time by doing that.
100%.
Yeah. Also, if you are going to commend someone, then we make a big deal out of it. So, if you're gonna reprimand someone, it's public. If we're recognizing someone, we also do it publicly. Now, I think this is a good segue to the next step is because if you're gonna train people, feedback is essential. And before you can provide feedback, it's crucial that you listen and you monitor or audit their performance. Because no matter how seasoned or tenured they are in your company, if they think no one is listening, if they think no one is checking, people, it's human nature. They would think, okay, it's okay for me to slip on a little. I have 10 calls. If I don't push on this call, probably no one would notice. You
Yeah.
don't I always tell my people that, especially at the beginning, I try to listen to all the calls that we have, whether sale or non-sale. And I tell everyone that I listen to all of their calls. I always make
Yeah.
that to the point. It's difficult when you have a larger team, so you might need someone to just have dedicated to listen. But it's crucial when you're still building the team that you listen to their calls so you could provide feedback.
Yeah. And by the way, we apply that everywhere. So we apply that in our recruiting department, we apply that in our sales department, in our hiring manager department. Everything is recorded. The head of that department watches the recordings to make sure that people are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. And if someone is below expectations, we'll either call them out, and if we see repeat, offenses, then they get removed essentially. And it's important to do that so the entire team always knows that they have to perform, because if you are, let's say you're the CEO of the company, you stop performing, the business will go out of business, like you will no longer exist. And so just as you have to always perform and you always have to do better, the team members always have to also do better. I've noticed back in the day, this was when I was less experienced, what would happen is after someone's been there for say a year or whatever, they start to perform at a lower level because they feel comfortable. And then it's like, and you have a relationship with them, and it's like you don't want to call them out because they've been there for so. But to me, like that's cancer. That will People that are going to join your company will see those tenured people there, and they're not performing, and they're also not going to perform, and it just creates a big downward effect that you don't want. So you always have to call people out, make sure everyone's treated the same way, high level of standard across the entire, not just the sales department, really every department you've got.
Yeah, that is crucial. And
Yeah.
that's where you are able to provide feedback. Now, you can be brutally honest with feedback. And I always tell the team, even during the interviews, that's one of the expectations that I set. We're going to provide you feedback. We're going to be brutally honest when providing you feedback. We're not going to sugarcoat stuff. So if you didn't do well, we're going to say that straight to your face. It's not going to be offensive. And I think some people will have difficulty with this because they don't want to offend someone. It's not going to be offensive as long as it's objective and what you're criticizing is the performance, not the person. As long as it's not personal, people will be okay with that.
100%.
Now, um, that's something that we have applied successfully in the team, and that's why everyone is open to feedback. Now, I think one of the reasons why we're all so successful is we're able to set good metrics and everyone is numbers driven. And that is the culture that you want to build when you're building a sales team. You have to build a numbers driven culture. So, first and foremost, you have to set up good targets. When it comes to building targets, ideally, you want them to align to your finances, of course. But the crucial thing is when you are setting targets, you have to set a monthly, a weekly, and a daily target. Believe it or not, in call centers, they even have hourly targets. But some businesses it doesn't apply. But it's really crucial that you have daily, weekly, and monthly targets. Because if you're not measuring performance and you're not objective about it, it's hard to evaluate if they're doing good or not. It's
100%.
very subjective and you don't want that. That's a good thing about sales. Like it's all about numbers. You can measure everything. So the logic behind that, by setting daily, weekly, and monthly targets is if you are doing good 4 days in a row and then you fail to hit the target on the fifth day, because you're doing well for 4 days, you will still hit the weekly target. Same thing applies when you're approaching it weekly. There's if you are doing well 3 weeks and then fourth week you fail, you're still gonna be hitting the monthly target because that's how things are. So it's very, very crucial. And you don't need some complicated metrics, honestly. One thing that works for us actually is we actually publish their performance every hour. Like every hour, we are putting the performance, and you don't need a complicated reporting just to do that. The
It's just
good old
Excel.
Excel sheet, yeah, that works. One thing that I really like doing is using the green and red color. It really works. Stop and go. Same logic. Green for money, red people would perceive they're doing bad.
Yeah.
So when I post the reports, if they're in red, they can immediately tell that they're bad. It's easy.
100%. So it's interesting. So in the sales team, we use green and red. Basically, if you're in red, it means you're not doing well. You're underperforming our KPIs. If you're green, it means you're overperforming. And so people really want to be in the green. Nobody wants to be in red. I remember when I first got in sales, like 9, 10 years ago, and I was working at a company. My name was at the bottom, and I hated it. It's like I would do anything to get out of the bottom and be one of the top people, right? And so we do that here too, where it's like it's a leaderboard. People are ranked by the number of sales they've done, the close rates, and these sort of things. And everybody's always pushing to be at the top because we're publishing that multiple times. And then the people that are at the bottom who are not doing sales, they get called out. Hey, what's going on? Are you not working today? Are you absent? And so like they feel embarrassed about the fact that they don't have sales, and so then they start performing better as they should, because like sales is a performance based department. It's very important that they perform really well.
We're
Um,
actually very brutal when it comes to it. Like we have a rule in the team, like if you don't have a sale for the day, you're absent. You don't
yeah,
exist. You
yeah,
don't have the right to talk if you didn't make a sale today. And we keep a very competitive environment. Like if someone is not performing, you're gonna be called out by everyone. Everyone will trash talk you.
yeah.
Um, that's how you want them to be. You
In a
want
professional way, by the way, to be clear, like
of
we're not
course, of
personally
course, of
attacking
course.
people. But now, why is that important? Because the team wants to hit their daily target. So everyone has their individual targets every day, but they also have obviously team targets. And then if one person is bringing down the team, everybody else is going to be pushing them to either perform or basically get out of the sales department if they're not good at sales, basically, right? And so this kind of creates a culture where you're not the only one in the company that has to constantly push people, because people are pushing each other because they all want to perform well. They want to hit their daily targets, their weekly targets, their monthly targets. And then one of the other things, Nick's does really well is like he gives bonuses and he gives rewards for hitting those targets. Like they'll do team lunches, they'll do bonuses here and there randomly on top of their commissions, so that people are incentivized to want to hit the target basically.
Yeah, rewards, it's carrot and a stick. So when everyone is doing well, you make them feel that they're amazing, you reward them. But if you fail the target, even just for one day, then you make them feel that we failed,
Yeah.
even if it's just one day. Even if they're doing good for 4 days straight, your team fails one day. They need to feel They need to have that urgency, that accountability that we cannot fail. You need to be always at your best. That's why they would know, like, if one day we fail to hit target, I will be mad
Yeah.
and I will make them feel that we didn't do good. Like, that's really how you make everyone, because if they don't feel there's no consequence attached to it in failing, it people
Yeah.
won't care. There has to be a
Yeah.
consequence attached.
Yeah, failure needs to not be acceptable across all departments in the company. Like failure should not be something we take lightly. If we have targets that we have to hit to grow the business and we fail at hitting these targets, everyone in that department should feel bad if they are one of the reasons. Oh, not just if they're the reason that did it, but it's like if that whole department failed because of one person, it doesn't matter. The whole department needs to understand that they failed and they're slowing down the business and they're the bottleneck in the business and they're the reason why we're not growing. And so when they feel bad that way, they will trying to make it up. They will work harder. They will do better in order to perform better so that they're not the bottleneck in the business. And I constantly do this in the chat as well. I call out, I'm like, hey, the marketing department is the bottleneck right now in the business. They're not doing very well. And by the way, we the marketing department is doing very well. So if you're here and you're in the marketing department, you're doing very well. I appreciate it. But like, like sometimes I'm like, hey, it's this department or it's that department. Or it's like our internal recruiters are not hiring fast enough. It's like I need to hire 30 people and they're only hired 20. So you guys are the reason we're not growing. It's like every department is doing well, but you're costing me money because you're not hiring internally fast enough for us. And so it's like you want to call out these departments, but also in sales, obviously, in the sales department, if they are the bottleneck, it's like, hey, we failed. You're slowing down the growth of the business. Very important you do that. Because if they feel like, hey, you know what? Yeah, we hit targets sometimes we don't. Who cares? Like then you're gonna have an
They
average
wouldn't care. They
sales
wouldn't
team.
care.
You don't want an average sales team.
And if you make that as the culture, then you'll be surprised. They'll be policing themselves. Like, if you would notice in our chat room, actually, if they people were asking, how far are we in target?
Yeah,
Did we hit it? How many more do we need? And people are doing overtime voluntarily if we are still not yet in target, because it is not acceptable to fail just one day. If you make that as a culture, then you're set, because everyone is doing what they're supposed to do on a daily basis.
100%. And another thing I want to go over as well is, obviously we're very strict about who stays on the team, but the ones that do stay on the team because they're doing really well, we pay really well internally. Like for our own team, we pay everyone a very competitive hourly rate, but then we also pay really good bonuses and commissions for the ones that stay that do well. And that's why they're motivated because the people that work here basically get paid. If they do well, they will get paid way more than any other job they can get with any other company remotely. And so it's great because you get to keep the best people, you pay them very fair wages, they're happy, you're happy to have them, and they're motivated to continue doing better because they want to make more. You want hungry people like that, and otherwise you're not going to be able to grow the team well. So it's important that you have high expectations, but you also have high rewards for the people that are meeting these
Of course.
expectations. Sometimes we have clients that come over and they're hiring, but they want to set the budget too low. And it's like, you can do that. The problem is you're just not going to get good people. You know what I mean? Like I can get you cheaper people. They're just not going to be as good as you want. And then you're going to come back and you're going to ask for a replacement, which we're happy to do, no problem. But like, I want to make sure we get it right for you the first time. I want to make sure you get the right person so that your business grows and you come back and you hire more people from us for other departments. And so like to get it right, you want to get the best people, pay them the best wages, but they will bring you more money as you do that.
That
Can
is
I
true.
interject and ask a quick question?
Sure.
What are the regular wages and what do you consider good wages?
So for us, we pay $10 per hour base, and then we pay commissions. For the sales team, we pay 1.5% of the revenue that they generate. And so basically, like just to kind of give you an idea, every 2 weeks, our top person right now, for example, made I think 1,400, 1,500 in bonuses. Um,
2,000 for just 2 weeks.
Yeah, in the past he made 2,000 in bonuses plus his base. Now that's our top guy. I would say on average, you're probably looking at about 3,000 or something for pretty good sales rep in Latin America.
And do you start at the $10 an hour or do you start at 5 or 6 and then work their way up to the good
So
wage?
to me, if someone is not worth $10 per hour, they shouldn't join the company at all. So like you're either
Okay.
worth 10 and you join or you don't.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and usually if someone is asking lower than 10, to me it's kind of a red flag. It's because like, okay, nobody else hired you before at $10. Like, why are you asking for less than that, you know? So that's kind of how we do it. Now, having said that, to be clear, the base, let's say the average is about say $3,000. The base is 1,600. For them to get to say 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000, whatever, they have to do well. So they have to make you money in order to basically be paid out of that money that they generate for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I would say that our model works is because we are actually making people accountable. So we are paying them a lot of money. But if they don't perform, which brings us to our last topic, if they don't perform, we don't keep them. Like we're very brutal in when it comes to making people accountable. And it's very easy when you're doing sales because you can take the emotion out of it. Like it doesn't matter whether I like you or not. I always tell this to the team. Like, even if I like you, even if I hate you, if you perform, I will keep you. If you don't, we will let you go. Plain and simple. If they don't perform, you'll let you go. So, and it's very easy because you're just going to be looking at the numbers. In fact, whenever I have to terminate someone, I don't like have to have long conversations because I just present the numbers. You didn't perform for 3 weeks. You're not hitting targets. We have to let you go. I'm very sorry. That's it. You need
Yeah.
to take out the emotion out of it because it wouldn't make business sense. And we're very brutal. I'm very brutal, me personally, when it comes to letting go people that are non-performers, because I'm a big believer that the worst thing that you can do to your top performers is to keep your low performers, because then they wouldn't feel special, like
Yeah.
they're doing well, and you don't make the people who are not doing their jobs accountable. It just doesn't work. It's bad for morale. And honestly, you're also, if you think that you're helping people by keeping them even they're not performing, you're actually not, because they might do well with other companies or other job opportunities, and you're actually keeping them from reaching their potential.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, it may not be the skill, it's more of the fit. They can do good sales in other companies, but not with you. So if you keep them, because out of pity, out of friendship, or out of attachment, it won't work.
You're
So
hurting two people with that. By keeping low performers, you're hurting your own company from growing. By the way, by not growing, you're also depriving other people of new jobs. Like we're growing so fast, we're creating so many jobs, and that's because we only keep the best of the best people. So we're opening up new job opportunities by only keeping the best. So it's like, yes, we're firing people, but we're opening up more opportunities for highly qualified talent. The other thing is someone who's not qualified, by letting them go, they will go find another job for themselves that is more in line with their
correct.
skill set. That person will like them because it's like, okay, they found the right job for what they're doing. And then so it's like beneficial for everybody. I think one mistake that I see a lot of the business owners we work with do is they give people a little bit too much time where it's like, yeah, this person is not performing very well, but
Give it
I
a
want to try him
shot.
for another 2 weeks or a month. In my head, I'm like, that's crazy. Like if they're not performing, just cut it off, come back, get a replacement. You'll never. By the way, when it comes to hiring, you'll never always get it right on the first time. You'll hire someone, they might perform really well, they might have the experience, but then they start with you and they're just not a good fit for whatever reason. Let those people go, come back, get a replacement real quick, and get back to what you're supposed to be doing. And I think it's very important you do that, because otherwise, if you keep low performance, the business is just gonna flatline.
That is very true. Don't tolerate low performance. Like, drive accountability, and everyone will be on their toes. Even the tenured. We have people here that still performs because if they know that 1 month that they don't perform, they can be let go no matter how long they've been with the company. So that is
Yeah,
a culture that we have, and everyone keeps on performing because we are rewarding them generously, and if they don't perform, they know that they will be made accountable.
100%.
That's the culture. That's the sales culture.
Well, it seems like we're kind of towards the end of this. I want to make sure we also have time for Q&A. So if anyone has a question, feel free to unmute, and then I'll also see if anyone has any questions in the chat. I'll answer those as well. Ishak is saying, do you provide part-time or full-time? So we can help you hire for both part-time or full-time. Generally speaking, internally for remote leverage, like if someone's going to work for us directly, we do not hire unless it's full-time. Because if someone's looking for a part-time, a lot of times they might have another job and they're not going to do as well. The other thing is they're not going to be fully committed, in my opinion. So like for me personally, I only hire full-time. Can you hire a head of sales? Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. For sure. We can definitely do that.
I'm not available
Not
anymore.
Nick's, but I can get you somebody else. Let's see. Let's see. Can we also hire marketing team members for me? Absolutely. Yeah. But just to kind of give you guys an idea, we have sales departments, we have hiring departments, we have recruiters, we have marketing department, we have a tech team, and I am the only US based person. So like any role you can think about in your company that doesn't require someone to physically be present, we can outsource. And we can outsource higher level talent for way cheaper than what you can get in the US. So whatever the role you have in your head you're thinking about, we can definitely do it. Like we've hired architects, we've hired engineers, we've hired marketers, Facebook, Google ads, whatever, SEO, we've hired recruiters, sales reps, obviously. I mean, whatever you think about, we can do for sure.
Even the niche roles, like we even provided like a plumbing estimator. I don't even know what that means, but we were
Yeah.
able to provide those niche roles.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Can we
Uh,
hire recruiters as well for our staff, our client, and yeah, absolutely. We can definitely help you hire recruiters. What are the performance statistics from people from the Caribbean? So I'll let you answer that, Nick, because you've hired a few Caribbeans in the past.
It's pretty much is still the same thing. Because they're near the Latin America, so the work ethic is also the same. Their proficiency in English is amazing as well. Like very professional accent, very little. So there's not much of a difference, to be honest with you. Even with
Yeah.
Egypt or South Africa, South Africa is really good as well when it comes to talent.
100%. So if you're saying I need to speak to someone to see how I can basically hire, go on our website remoteleverage.com. I'm going to put the link in the chat, remoteleverage.com. You can book a call there, and then you'll get to actually meet one of our sales reps, and
See for
and they
yourself
will.
how good our people are.
Yeah, 100%. So you'll see the sales process that we have internally, and then they can hook you up with a hiring manager. The hiring manager will basically go through exactly what you're looking for. They will host the interviews on your behalf, and then basically bring you the top one or two candidates that they really like for your position. We actually started this process recently. Back in the day, we would bring the client, six applicants, and then the client interviews them. We've changed the process because our hiring managers are so good at interviewing. Now we do the interviews. You just get presented one or two people that are very high quality. You interview them as kind of like a final interview before you hire, and it's way better this way. So our hiring team can definitely help you with that. But go to the website remoteleverage.com. Any role you're looking to hire for, book a call. We can help you with that.
I've
How do
got
you make sure you're? Oh, I'm sorry,
I'm sorry.
Arthur. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna ask a question,
Sure.
whether there's a floor on the price of the products that that you're selling that would make sense to do cold calling. So for example, if you have a SaaS product that is, $100 a month, is that something that would be worthwhile to be, to cold call for, or is that too low of a price point that, the numbers wouldn't make sense?
So this is just my opinion personally. I mean, I might be correct, I might not be correct, but I think if the price was that low, and I was gonna set up a sales team for it, they would have to go after very large enterprises so that they can sell much bigger packages. And if that's the target, then definitely hire. Like basically, these would be called account-based marketing or account-based sales type of reps. They can sell, instead of selling one at $99 is not going to cut it. They would need to sell like big packages to bigger companies. Like if they were to sell to us, we have about 145 people, and then you're selling at $100 each. That is a huge number. So then it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking to sell to, one at a time type of thing, I would, instead of hiring a sales rep, I would hire someone that could handle Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever for you. So I would instead hire a marketer to handle that.
One of
Okay.
the things that you could also look at is, how big is the market? Like, if you would try to generate leads for your target market, how many can you generate? That way, if you could probably do like 20,000 leads, cold calling or cold approach would make sense. But if it's very few, like you're operating in a limited market, for example, if you use a tool and you could only generate like 100, 500 leads, that's not enough for cold calling.
Hmm.
But if you're doing cold calling, it's all about the numbers. So on an average, if you make like 300 phone calls, probably only 10 people will answer those phone calls. So it's not going to work out. So you also need to check,
Yeah.
how more leads you can generate.
Yeah.
So I can tell you what my product is one-way virtual interviews, and the goal is to help save managers time for entry-level positions. So if you're looking at waitresses or um, you know other type of jobs like that, where they're always hiring, they get a lot of resumes. So what a one-way virtual interview does, it just allows you to quickly go through, screen those applicants, see how they sound, which is what you're really looking for. You don't really care on low entry jobs what their resume is as much. It doesn't really tell you that much.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I'm scraping from job boards, people that are have positions open, and I can scrape a few thousand per day of new positions. And then it's just a matter of calling them and saying, hey, trying to reach that hiring manager. And then uh, once you reach that hiring manager, which is actually quite difficult,
It's
uh,
very, yeah.
yeah, to pitch them the product. But
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would say hiring a sales rep to do that would work, but then you'd want to go after large companies or hire a marketer. We can help you hire marketers.
mhm.
If I was in your shoes and I had to choose, I would probably lean towards hiring a marketer, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
Um, but that's probably what I would do because the cost is low, and when the cost is low, in my opinion, generally, unless you're selling big packages, you want to hire marketers so they can sell it in mass. But yeah, I mean,
I was
I
thinking
think
Yeah,
of
boss.
increasing the price
If
maybe to
you
150 a month or 190, but there's some price point where they're also people are price sensitive. But the issue with the going after large corporations, they want to see that you're established, and
100%.
who
PS,
else what other large customers you have. So that's the it's the
hello,
gets to the
hello,
chicken and
Arthur.
the egg issue.
I have some experience in marketing software like that, where the price tag is slightly on the lower end, and maybe
Mhm.
engaging an outreach or outbound led sales operation might be difficult. In such cases, pricing and bundling and packaging would be another thing you probably want to look at. Even at our company, we have been testing a few products, right, which don't cost as much on a monthly basis, and for those, we try to push people towards an annual purchase with some discounting, right?
Mhm.
And then the economic starts working towards like a slightly higher cost per acquisition per client.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of bundles, by the way. Like initially when I started Remote Leverage, we used to sell just individuals, and then I came up with an idea. It's like, instead of just hiring one at a time, I'll give you bigger discounts, but you buy a bundle, like three for 12 or five for 15, whatever. And that really helped us elevate our customer value because then they can fill multiple roles, then they're working with us on a more continuous basis. So maybe something like that would also be beneficial in your business. I do see another question. Thank you, Abbas and Nix. You're welcome. If I have a SaaS model
Thank you.
indoor golf franchise, you're welcome, Arthur. With multiple locations, what would the ideal team look like? Sales, lead gen, marketing, hire head of sales, and work down. Currently working with you all. Just want to make sure I'm on the right track. Michelle, very good question. It really depends on if you have like how many sales reps are you going to hire? How many marketers are you going to hire? If you're going to hire a lot of sales reps, in my opinion, it's better to hire a head of sales and then let them basically build out their team, and they can build out their team through us. So like we can help you hire the head of sales, and then they fill the other sales positions in the team directly with us. Same thing with marketers, by the way. I would probably do the same thing, head of marketing, and then have them fill it out. But I would say with marketing, it tends to be a little bit expensive to get people in those positions. So maybe you're like, I don't have the budget to hire a head of marketing, so maybe I'll just hire someone who's really good at running Facebook ads or Google ads, and that's fine too. That marketing teams don't need to be huge, by the way. You can have a very like our marketing team that got us to over 1 million. Was very small, probably like 6 people. Now we're growing it to about 11, 12 people or whatever. But like you can do a lot with a very small, competent marketing team. So those could be, very, very inexpensive. How do you make sure you're recruiting the best? How are the English skills? How do you find the top talent? Whoever asked that, we get a lot of applicants, obviously, and we vet them. We have a three-step vetting process, and then the hiring manager also hosts interview on your behalf. So by the time you meet them, it's like they're very, very, very highly qualified. English is not going to be a problem at all. That's literally the first thing we check. If they don't speak very good English, we don't even let them move on to the next step. So like English is a baseline minimum skill. They all have to have great, English, no accents. And then the next thing is like, okay, well, you could speak English, but do you have the skills necessary? Do you have the resume, that is good enough for the job? And if you don't have that, we're not going to even let you interview a client. What are the key traits you use to identify high quality hire in the interviews? How many rounds do you typically use? So Ingrid, personally, like when I'm hiring, by the time they get to me, they've already met basically our recruiting team. Same thing with you. Like if you're hiring through us, we will have recruiters and hiring managers that will host all these interviews on your behalf in the background. So by the time they get to you, and by the time they get to me, by the time they get to Nix, we decide to hire or not hire on that first interview because they've already gone through multiple rounds with the team. And so at that point, I'm the final step to decide yes or no. And typically, like for me personally, honestly, a lot of times I decide if I want to hire someone or not within like the first minute. Like I
First
meet
minute,
them.
you would
Yeah,
know.
first minute. And he does that for sales roles. I do that for other roles, like if I'm hiring EAs or if I'm hiring, other positions, whatever positions I hire for, it's like usually within the first minute I can tell if somebody's going to be a good fit or not. If they come in and they seem energetic, they seem smart, they have a good resume that I read ahead of time and all of that, then it's like you're good. I'll get you in.
Hey, Abbas, I have a question.
Sure.
We are a small e-commerce omni-channel. We are already have been hiring people from India, Philippines, Latin America for the past 10 years. If we want to bring you guys in, how would you be able to help us grow? We are a scaling, growing business. We have multi-channels, Amazon,
Yeah,
eBay, Shopify, BigCommerce, all of that. And
100%. I mean, we help a lot of e-commerce businesses, by the way, so we do that a lot. We have different roles. So basically, you would meet with a sales rep, tell them what you're looking for. They'll connect you with a hiring manager, and then the hiring manager will go really in depth into what roles you guys are filling the most. They will come up with a job description that fits. You review it with them to make sure that it's a good job description. And then from there, they will host interviews for you, to get you the best people for these roles. Here's an interesting thing. You guys don't have to pay us at all. Besides, like it's $100 refundable deposit. You get your money back if you want to cancel at any point. Yeah, it's fully refundable. So you put down the deposit. You don't have to actually pay us until you meet a candidate and you're like, oh, this is so good. I'm actually ready to move forward. Let's send him a work offer. I'm ready to pay you guys. That's when we get paid. So like for you guys to start the process and maybe compare our process to maybe your current process and then see if it's better or not, it's completely risk free. You can get it started, have the hiring team work on your behalf, and then if you're like, oh, I could have gotten better results on my own, then just discard us. Keep doing what you're doing. If you feel like, oh, this talent is so good, I could actually change my business because the quality is so high, then proceed with hiring. And then we have
Thus,
bundles as well, so we can give you really good pricing if you're hiring a lot.
and
Yeah,
if you
okay.
don't mind me chiming in,
yeah,
so one thing that I want to focus on is our capacity or capability in finding exceptional talents. Okay, so one thing that wasn't really discussed here because it wasn't really part of the topic, right? But we are a very mega employer, and as a result, we attract a huge amount of talents from all around the world. That's one. The other thing is we actually have very deep AI driven somewhat capacities in doing exceptionally deep vetting. Okay, and another thing that's that's a big difference with our service versus others, is that we are able to look into very fine details. There could be experiences, there could be skill sets that are very rare. You could be operating on a particular software that you for sure need someone skilled in that. Okay. And in the regular market, finding someone skilled in that particular software is very difficult. Even tasks, even requirements like that would be good with us. Okay, these are the areas we are actively working on right now. Our capacity is actually pretty strong. Thank you.
100%. Yeah, and you know, if you think about it, like every day we're getting about 1,500 new applicants for many different niche jobs, and we're always growing the database of qualified people. Every day now, I think we're hosting about 400 or 500 interviews with clients. So it's like to basically do that on your own and then get the best of the best people, you have to replicate a similar system to that. And it's not worth your time, your effort. It's better to just come to us, have us do the hiring, because it's like, how many people are you going to hire a year? 10 people, 15, 20, 30, whatever. It's better to just outsource that so you can actually focus on what matters the most in your business. And when it comes to pricing, if you're looking to hire a lot of people, it gets really, really cheap. Like some of our packages are, you know, very affordable. So I'd highly recommend you just, you know, give it a try, see the quality that we can generate with our process, our candidates versus your quality. I always tell people this, it's like, even if you're comparing competitors or whatever, it's like, do that, no problem. Get started with our process. So that way, by the time you meet other applicants, whether you're sourcing on your own, you're sourcing from competitors, you can compare apples to apples.
So what is your pricing model? The way you work is that you hire people and then we pay you, you pay them. Is that how it works?
No, they work directly for you. We just charge you a one-time recruiting fee for every hire you make through us.
What is that recruiting fee?
It depends on a lot of factors. It depends on if you want to hire one or multiple, but let's say you want to hire 3 people, it's 12,000. And so that's about 4 grand per person. You can finance it. You know, we have financing programs and all of that. If you want to hire, let's say 10 people, then you can get it down to as low as 3,000 per person. And then every person you hire through us, we give you a 6-month replacement guarantee. So if you hire the wrong person or they're just not a good fit, they're not performing, come back to us. We'll replace them for free very quickly. So that's kind of another huge benefit is you're basically guaranteed to have the right person for you.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you have experience? Are you guys good for commercial real estate investment sales? The caller's responsibility is to call on property landlords and arrange a meeting with a senior broker. Tate, absolutely 100%. We can definitely do that. We've done that a lot. In fact, I personally used to be in real estate and I've also bought commercial real estate. So we're very familiar with the real estate industry. So 100%. Definitely go to the website, remoteleverage.com, book a call. We can help you with that as well. Any other questions? Anybody else?
Amazing.
Before we wrap up. I hope this was helpful. This was like the first major one that we've done. You know, I want us to do more of these about different topics, maybe different departments. I feel like one topic that would be interesting maybe is marketing, because I feel like a lot of businesses need help with generating new leads, new business. For us, the bottleneck in our business is not marketing. Like we get a lot of leads. We have more leads than we can handle, essentially. We get basically the business bottleneck is we need to hire faster. Like we're hiring so many and that's still not fast enough to accommodate demand, essentially. So we have to limit our demand by reducing marketing in order to keep growing the business, obviously. And so, but I think for a lot of businesses that maybe we deal with, if they had more leads, more demand, that would help them grow very quickly. So I think maybe marketing might be the next big one we do. What about working in niche industries?
We do.
Yeah, no problem. Whatever industry, doesn't really matter. You just tell us what you're looking for. We will get it. We'll get them for you. This was very helpful. Maybe more custom packages for starters. If you can talk about in the next will be helpful. Absolutely, Abby. I think talk to our sales team. They can walk you through what we've got right now for sure.
I can even do the meeting for you.
Yeah, 100%.
No,
Fireworks industry. That's an interesting one. Very
I think
cool.
I had a conversation with Nix in like a couple of months back, and I'm really impressed by him. So yes, as you said, Nix, definitely you can't replicate Nix, but maybe, if we can have somebody like him, would be great
We can definitely get
in
you.
future. So
Yeah, we can definitely get you ahead of sales. No
yeah.
problem. I mean, they might not look as good as Nick's, but they're could be good.
We'll start slow. We'll start slow. We'll have somebody who's been shadowed by Nix, and then we go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to help with that. Yeah, book a call. I'm sure our team can do it. We've hired a lot of like really good roles.
High
Heavy,
level.
yeah, high level roles. Yeah. Technology hires. Michelle, very good question. We can definitely help you with that. I'll tell you, one of my biggest department focuses recently has been building a tech team internally. And we've been able to build so many AI tools for our team that have really made our teams a lot more efficient per person. So our revenue per employee is growing very rapidly as a result of that because we're not having to hire as many people because we have tech teams that are automating a lot of things. So we can definitely do that. You know how everyone's talking about vibe coding and Claude, and all these different things, cursor. You can try to figure it out yourself, but like I'm not very tech savvy personally, to be honest with you. I mean, I know how to do a few things here and there, but it's way better if you just hire tech teams that
Hmm.
can help you. So we
Same.
can definitely do that for you. With the surge in business in the past year or two, this meeting is extremely appreciated. Absolutely, Gabrina. Happy to help. Glad this was helpful for you. Any other questions, anyone, before we wrap up? We went a little over, but that's common for these type of things I've noticed.
If you guys need to talk about how we can further help you, please feel free to book a meeting with us. All our sales rep will be happy to consult with you on how we could better assist
100%. Cool.
And
Seems like
you'd
that
be
was
able to
oh sure.
stress
Yeah.
test the salespeople
Yeah, yeah,
he's
yeah.
talked
You can
about.
see
Yeah,
if they're
definitely
so you can
yeah, we
stress
can
see
see
for
if
test
they're
them.
yourself
actually
how good
good.
our
Yeah,
team is.
And if they don't close you, email me directly. I will talk to
yeah, yeah.
them.
Big
I'll
failure.
give you a discount if they cannot close you.
Yeah. Not good, not good. Very cool. I'm glad this was helpful. Thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. If you're a current client as well, thank you for being a client. If you're not a client yet, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Go book a call, be a client. We'll help you.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much, guys.
Cool. See ya. Bye bye.
Bye.